Silksong is finally coming out. I cannot believe it is a week away from releasing. I was convinced at this point that this game was never going to come out. I was like, okay, Silksong news is going to keep happening. The hype train, the hype circle, we're going to see some images and some trailers, but this game is never going to come out. So when I kept seeing Silksong is going to be released in 2025, I was like, sure, buddy, it's gonna happen. Yeah, sure, it's gonna happen. And then people were thinking like holiday 2025. I was thinking more like October, November, but September 4th is the day for Silksong. This is insane that we're finally getting this game that people have been waiting for over 7 years. Over 6 years. I mean 7 years. They've been developing it for 6 or 7 years, so it's been crazy nonetheless. But if I have some time to kind of marinate on my thoughts on what Silksong is walking into at this point in the video game industry, because a lot has changed since the first game Hollow Knight came out. And so a lot of people, obviously including myself, I've been playing Hollow Knight to kind of re-familiarize ourselves with the game. I'm trying to get through it as fast as I can. I didn't actually complete Hollow Knight at the time. I played it on Switch and I rebought it on PC, so I'm kind of going through the game again to finish it and kind of like get it enough sense of it to kind of prepare myself for Silksong. But Hollow Knight is one of the most popular indie games on the planet. I mean, I've always said that Hollow Knight and Hades 2 and a couple of games like Slay the Spire have kind of redefined the genres that they're in. Obviously, Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania, and a lot of games have come out since Hollow Knight that have been inspired by Hollow Knight. And since they announced Silksong the very first time when they announced it 6 years ago, people were just baiting at the breath because they wanted more Hollow Knight. They wanted the ability to play as another character. Hornet is really cool. I actually just went through her first fight and she is so much fun to kind of see her abilities and what you're going to be doing in Silksong. She talks to you as well, so she can speak and she'll have dialogue within the game of Silksong. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of hype, but over the years, as fans have gotten less and less news, Team Cherry has been kind of silent for a number of different years. They've been doing a lot. You get a trailer or a screenshot here and there. People's interest and hype have gone down tremendously to the point where people were just getting mad at Team Cherry for not providing any sort of communication. And so yeah, it's interesting to see now that Silksong is actually coming out, what it's going to step into. And so I have kind of three things that I think Silksong is going to be going up against whenever it releases. First, it's going to go up against itself. It's going to have to go up against Hollow Knight. Is this going to be a worthy sequel to Hollow Knight? And that's going to be a huge task because it's been 7 years. So like, what could they have done over these 7 years to improve on what Hollow Knight has already essentially perfected? I don't want to say perfected. Obviously, it's a game. They were limited in scope, limited in budget. They didn't know Hollow Knight was going to blow up at the time. And so, yeah, there was a lot that they were doing, well, that they could do with the technology and resources they had at the time. But now that they've made like so much money, they're like probably gajillionaires in the indie game space and probably more so than AAA industries. I don't know. I'm kind of yapping on that one. But in any case, they've made more money and more success with Hollow Knight they could ever imagine possible. So you can see from the trailers of Silksong that they have so much that they're going to pack in. And I think a lot of people have pointed out that Team Cherry is probably suffering from a lot of scope creep. And now we're probably talking about a game that's probably going to be like 40 hours as opposed to maybe 30, maybe even more, depending on how many secrets and bosses and how many biomes there are in this game. So I can't imagine how much is going to happen. But again, how much is it going to improve on Hollow Knight? Is it going to be a better sequel? Is it going to look better? I think it does look a little bit better from the trailers. I'm playing Hollow Knight right now and kind of comparing and contrasting both Hollow Knight as it exists right now and Silksong, the trailers. And so you can say it does look better, but is it going to be much better than Hollow Knight? That remains to be seen. I think that'll be a big question. Like, is this going to be a worthy sequel? So it does have to go up against itself. The biggest hurdle that Silksong has to go up against is the fans. So there's a crazy and very large Metroidvania / Hollow Knight community out there that have their entire YouTube channels dedicated to Silksong news. And so people have been spamming Silksong in chats of indie games and the Game Awards so much over the past 6 years. It is so insane the amount of people that have been waiting for Silksong, and now it has to go up against fan expectations. And quite frankly, it's probably not going to meet fan expectations because it's probably through the roof. There's probably so much that fans have wanted from this game, and honestly may not deliver what fans want because it's just too much. There's probably too much of what people want, what people expect out of Team Cherry, what people expect out of this game that's taken so long. There are backers on Kickstarter for this game. This game was supposed to come out on like many generations ago, so that there's so much built-in hype and expectations is that it's just gonna be hard to compete with whatever the fans want. And I do not envy Team Cherry's position. Obviously they were going to put it out at some point, but still, the further in time you go from when they release it, the harder it's going to be to meet fan expectations. So I don't know where they're going to be. I'm very curious. I'm not the biggest Hollow Knight Silksong fan. I mean, I like the game. I'm playing it obviously, and I like it. I like what it's done to the genre, but I'm just curious as like I don't have the big enough like hype for it as most fans do, but a lot of people do, and I'm just really curious as to how it's going to meet fan expectations. But the last thing it's going to have to compete against, it's other indie games within its own genre that it created and helped refine. So I'm like, I was looking on SteamDB just recently, and I was looking at games that have come out since Hollow Knight that have been inspired by Hollow Knight. You got games like, let's see, I'm looking here on SteamDB. I've got Dead Cells, which is technically a roguelike, but it is listed in the Metrovania category. But if you look in the SteamDB charts, it's like second under Hollow Knight for most successful. That came out in 2018. Hollow Knight came out in 2017. You got Ori Will of the Wisp came out in 2020. You got Touhou Lunar Nights came out in 2019. You've got Pseudo Regalia came out in 2023. Nine Souls came out last year. Animal Well came out last year. Crypt Custodian came out last year. Ender Lilies, Quiet as the Night, and Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist came out. Ender Lilies came out in 2021, and then Ender Magnolia just went 1.0 this year. So there have been so many games, and that's just a handful of some of the most highly rated Metroidvanias. There's so many games that have come out since 2017, and not just Metroidvanias, but just indie games in general that have tried to almost replicate their own version of success of what Team Cherry has done. And again, Silksong has to compete against all of these highly rated indie games. Indie games were in a much different space in 2017 as compared to 2025. From personal experience, I was not crazy into indie games as much as I am over the past few years. I mean, I've only really gotten in like fully immersed in the indie game scene over the past 3 years since I started this channel. And I'm sure a lot of people have just not seen a lot of the beauty and art there is in indie games. I mean, indie games are doing crazy, more so than AAA right now because of the pricing and just the amount of how they push the boundaries of the medium. So yeah, it's awesome. But Hollow Knight helped start that, helped lay a foundation as to what is happening right now. So it's just been so long. And is Silksong gonna compete? Is it gonna instantly shoot up into Game of the Year contender for the Game Awards? If not, are people gonna be upset? I don't know. Is it gonna be standing shoulder to shoulder with Expedition 33? I don't know. It has to compete against games like that. It has to compete against other games that have come out in this year in the same genre. So there's a lot that Silksong is going up against in this current timeline. I just don't know. And so I'm just curious. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the comments. This is more like a yapping video to try to create a discussion on this channel to just process, like, how do you feel now that Silksong is finally coming out? Will you be buying it? Yes, I'm going to buy it day one, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to talk about it on the channel whenever I get far enough in it to kind of formulate some good thoughts. So, but are you going to buy it? Are you going to buy it? Has it been too long? Are you someone who was a Hollow Knight Silksong fan for so long you just kind of gave up and you're just no longer going to buy it? I'm just really curious, like, has your hype died down? Are you re-hyped? Are you more hyped again? Are you playing Hollow Knight right now? I'm just curious to know how people feel in the comments as to Silksong. So yeah, just want to know. And yeah, it's gonna be crazy over the next few weeks as Silksong releases and people put out their videos and their guides and their reviews and all the discussion that's surrounding Silksong. Social media is gonna be blowing up for a hot minute for the next few weeks, maybe even the next month, maybe even longer than that, as Silksong releases, as more people get their hands on it. If you want to see any of the games I'm playing right now, be sure to check out those videos as they pop up. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and all the things that you do on this channel. My name is Chike, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.